go through some of the slides and also probably have lay a hand on some things and vis-a-vis have some questions as the case may be. So before we dive into what we want to do now, I want to know if we have any question so that I'll be sure that we are actually on course. I don't want to assume that. So if there's any question at this moment, or have we been able to go through our slides?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Some data.
any challenge, any question, anywhere you want clarification?
Initially, I had challenge, but when I did this, I splitted this, this in splitted slide. I was able to overcome the challenge.
Yeah. You know this and those slides, there
Yeah.
are a whole lot of things that we've not gone through that are in that slide. So you have to be able to distinguish what we've done so far from what we've not, so that you won't have challenge thinking that I don't know this. So I think there won't really be any challenge, so to say. So if you worry about you.
Not yet,
Okay.
but we'll do that very soon.
Okay. Mr. Clemens, sir.
Yeah, to be frank, I've not been able to. I just went to trust through one of the slides, but not even
Okay.
comprehensive.
I
Yeah, so
know, sir.
yeah, I've been freaking busy, so I wasn't able to go through them.
Okay, you just ran through. You didn't really go
Yes, yeah,
through.
but yeah, not yes, yeah, exactly. But once
I know.
are we having classes tomorrow?
We should, because of the number of things we have to cover. But what I will do, probably let me give you guys one day off so that you'll be able to um go through what we've done so far, so that it won't look. I was
Absolutely.
actually thinking probably. I know Sundays is usually very hectic, a whole lot of church activities. Then
Yes.
want to rest, prepare for the next day. So probably what I would do tomorrow, we can take tomorrow off. Then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, most likely on Saturday, I want us to finish, because no, sincerely, what we have left is not really much, but it's something. They are actually essential things that you must grab, so that even the truth is that, let me just be sincere with you, you can't grab everything in this class. That's just the truth. What we are trying to do is that you have, to some extent, a tool in your hand that you cannot build upon, in the essence that by the other materials that I'm going to give to you, you will not need, for example, someone that does not know ABCD, 2-letter words, 5-letter words, you are not telling the person to start writing letter. The person will be confused. So this is a foundation, at least, on that even you yourself, you will be able to do your own personal analysis. But for you to now become an expert, you have to build upon it. And after now, I'm going to give us some tutor. Even they also have a YouTube channel where a whole lot of training that I've done are also on that channel. So you can visit the channel too to learn. Then you can also visit other educators. But if you don't know the foundation, automatically there will be an issue, because you won't know what to do. For example, if you don't know how to impute the data, even when they are talking about imputing data, you'll be confused. So with this, you'll be able to even do your own basic analysis and all of that. Then you can now build upon it and learn more on your own. because by then you will be able to actually sit down and develop more. Because with what you have now, you'll be able to do your own analysis and all of that. But I don't want it to just be at that level that you're only talking about. Wanting you to come to a point that you are looking at developing capacity to even handle other people's research too, as the case may be.
Yeah, Mr. Lonya, to be frank with you, actually,
Yes.
from the beginning of the class we where we transformed that data was very, very interesting. Where you had that transformation and stuff like that. That place till
Okay.
that point has been very, very interesting. But this last class, to be very frank with you, I merely got something out of it. But I'm hoping that I will go through your slides and
Okay.
yes, and I will catch up.
Okay. Since that aspect was a bit of technical, I guess.
But
Yes.
I don't want us to drag us back. But
No.
I'm
Wait.
just
It's the same
I
thing for me.
we need to the if the do you know why it's essential for these steps we are able to get them? Because by the time if we don't get this aspect, we'll just because we are going to be building on those other aspects that we are going to do. So if there was an issue with those aspects, we'll go back and look at it. Then we are not in as much as we have to cover up what we need to do. Just like what I said, what we have to cover is not much, but we must make sure that you have a very good foundation. I don't have any issue going back there. We are not drag. If you don't get it, for at least two of you have said, okay, it was a big out of place for you. There's nothing bad going back there to look at what we've done. We'll take it slowly to make sure that we're able to get it. Then we'll move forward.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not an issue. That's the purpose. One thing about me, all the training is not about what you have been able to cover. Let me just before we go forward. The person that
Mm,
taught me only taught me how to enter data, how to go this and from there I built my capacity. So this aspect you are talking about, if you don't understand it, you will not even be able to build upon it. So it's not an issue at all. We'll go back there. Thank God at least you got it to the transformation aspect, which is very essential because that area is also a very important aspect that you need to understand. So what we'll do, we'll go back there, we'll look through, I guess is the aspect where we're talking about splitting the data and doing I think the
the analysis,
chi-square and the rest,
the
the
guys for you,
analysis.
exactly.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I will take it from there, then we'll build from there. If we can do that, then we'll do how to do normality testing. Then we'll achieve quite
Exactly
a lot
that
today.
normality, and then
Uh-huh.
you mentioned the distribution. What was the word you used to know
Yes, no,
if there's a normal?
normally distributed and non-normally
Uh,
distributed. Yes,
You
we are
have to
going to
first of
do.
all know that. You have to first of all
Yes,
understand that before you proceed to,
yes,
I think, analyze. You said something like that. So those are the points that I think is important. And also,
yes,
I'm also looking forward for us to start the part of the continuous data. I think that's the word. I
yeah.
think
Continuous
it's gonna
variable.
look,
Yes, yes.
yeah, I think it's gonna look. I don't know if it looks more interesting than this strange. When you
Of
have the
course,
yes, no, because
the reason why this aspect is not really interesting to you because this is actually more of people that are into microbiology, but for continuous variable,
yes,
those in chemistry deal with more
when
of
you have measurements, yeah,
distributed measurement, that is ANOVA and all the rest. So,
exactly.
so notwithstanding, what we are going to do now, I think, because of that, I think we can go through the normality distribution first, then we'll
Okay.
go back to the other aspect so that the reason why I actually took that first aspect was because we do not require normality distribution there. We don't need to test
Mhm.
for normality there. So I was thinking
Okay.
but I think it's better we take it cohesion so that there will be cohesion. So We'll look at the normality distribution now. Then I will just bring out the other data, initial data that we had. So we'll look through that so that we'll understand it better. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to pull up that data. Then we'll look at how to test for normality. Then after testing for normality, then we'll now go back to the analysis itself and start and look at that aspect that was not clear to us. But I want to be sure that at least each and every one of us got it to the point of data transformation.
Yeah. For me, I don't know about other colleagues. For me, after the transformation was quite interesting.
Okay. What about you?
Same here.
Okay. Yawas, I know I went through it for you. I hope you equally got it to the point of data transformation.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Detujin, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's fine, meaning that we are in order then. So I'm going to share my screen right away. So because of Yas that is just coming, tomorrow is going to be lecture free for us so that we'll take time to practice what we've learned so far. Then we'll reconvene on Wednesday to continue from wherever we stop today. So
Okay, that's
it's just like
fantastic.
what I
Thank
said,
you.
Sam.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Because it's very essential so that we'll not just be doing things and you are not practicalizing what we've learned. So that will be of no really use.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm going to. Okay, I think. Okay, I have the data at the point. Yes. So we are going to open up another data. So to open up a data, I guess you can see my screen. To open up a data, go to File, Open Data, then you click on it. Then automatically it will take you to desktop document rather. Then you take it to where your data is stored. Then for me, my data is actually in SPSS Training. So and I've also equally make it for if it was an SPSS data now, immediately we click on SPSS, any data that have SPSS as the extension, automatically you will see it, but we don't have any of such data here. So this is the only data we have there, but the one we want to look is actually Excel. So I think this is that particular data. So click on to be sure. Right. No, it's not this. Sorry. So go back to open. Oh, I think okay. All right. So these are continuous. You can see them from numeric. All the one you have numeric, they are actually continuous data. Now, for us to test for normality, I hope we are all following. To test for normality, you click on Analyze, then you click on Descriptive Statistics, then you click on Explore. I will take that again. Analyze, Descriptive Statistic, Explore. Analyze, descriptive statistics, then you click on explore. So then you click on explore, it will come up here. But basically, what I want to check here, any of the continuous data I can actually check. Let's assume that I want to check if the age is normally distributed, or let's even leave it. Let's say I want to check for FSH and LH. Then I'll move them here. You move them, you select, you can move the one after the other, you move them into the dependent variables box. Then we are not doing anything factor or label by that, except if you want your output to be labeled by what is it called, by cases, but we are not doing that. I want to just check the whole output of the data itself. Then you come here and click on statistics. Then descriptive is already selected, so you are not clicking any other thing, except if you want to check for percentile and the rest. You can click that, but it's not really necessary. Click on continue, then plot. Now, by default, it will show this theme and leave, but that's not what we are looking for. So you deselect this, then you click on histogram. Remember we messed up histogram. Then you now click on normality plot with test. Did you get that? Histogram, then normality test with plot. Then you click on
Yes.
here. Then you click on continue. Then you come here under option. We are not doing any other thing. Then bootstrapping, we are not doing anything there. You make sure that it's boot that is clicked, that is selected. If it's just only statistics that is selected, meaning that it will only show you the statistics. It will not show you the plot. So you click on both. So you click on OK. Immediately you click on OK, the output will be generated. So now this is the output. Now the first, I'm going to go through that again. I said for you to check for normality, you click on analyze,
Analyze.
then you click on descriptive
Descriptive
statistics,
statistics.
then you click on explore.
Explore.
Then once you click on explore, whatever what is it called, whatever variable you want to check for. Sorry, this is not the one, that is another. Okay. Now you click on here, analyze, descriptive statistic, then explore. Then whichever parameter you want, each of these you can actually check, or any of them that have like a ruler on them, that have ruler on it, which is indicating
Of
interval
continuous.
variable or continuous variable.
Yeah.
So you can check for normality for them. So I decide for this purpose, I just decide to use these two. Then I bring them here. Then I ask that you go to statistics, you click on it will be by default descriptive will be selected. But on my own, I just wanted to also check for percentile, if any. Then I'll click on that. Then for plot, by default, leave and stem will be selected. Then you deselect that. Then you click on histogram and normality plot with test. Then you click on continue. So immediately you do that, the output that was generated, you will see it. Though this is the output. So the first thing you are going to see is the case processing summary. So here it will tell you the number of valid, then the number of missing data, if there's any missing data. Then like here now, all of them was 132 valid cases, which represent 100%. It therefore means that there was no missing data. So the total too was 100. So that's the first thing that you're going to see. Then the second thing that you will see is the descriptives. Then for FSH now, we have the mean, which is 9.674 and like that. Then this is standard error. Then we have the 95 percent confidence interval of mean, We have the lower bound, which is 7.6 something. Then we have the upper bound, which is this. Then we have every other one. We have the 5% trim meal. That's not really important. Then we have the median. Then we have the variance, with standard deviation. Then here you can see we have the skewness. Then we have the ketosis for the FSH. Then for the LH, we also have the values here and all of that. Then the next thing is that follows the percentile. We have different each of them. We have for the 5%, 5%, a percentile, 10%, 25. But in normal sense, we usually have 25%, 50%, 75, and 95% percentile. So now, from that study that I told us, from the presentation I made to us earlier on the test of what was it called? Test of normality. You can see this is the Chromogurus Spiro test, which is also referred to as KS test. Then looking at it from here, you can see this is the statistic value. Then this is the degree of freedom. Then this is the significant, which is the p-value. And you remember that if you remember initially when I make that presentation to us, I told us that usually before you check for normality, what you usually do is to first and foremost do what we refer to as hypothesis. You set hypothesis. So, for example, if I was to set hypothesis here, the hypothesis I was going to set was that the non-hypothesis rather would be that the value of FSH and LH are normally distributed. Or if let's say it's for pregnant women, I can say the FSH of pregnant women in, let's say, National Hospital are normally distributed. LSH normally distributed. Those are the non-hypothesis. Then the alternate hypothesis will be they are not normally distributed. Now, for us to test those, to check if those hypotheses that we set is correct. Remember, if we go back to that presentation I make to us, I told us that if any of these, if the p-value, which is this significant level, is less than 0.05, you will reject your non-hypothesis. Then you will accept your alternate hypothesis. I don't know if we still remember that.
Please come again with us. Say it again, please.
Do we still remember that?
Please say it again. Yes, I remember that part, but I just wanted to emphasize on it again.
Hello?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. So what I'm saying in essence is, if you check here now, this is 0.0001, meaning that there's a high level of differences between them. So meaning that both the KS test and the Shapiro wheel test actually confirm that they are not normally distributed because of the significant level. So assuming here was, let's say 0.0, let's just say 0.4, and this is also 0.4, automatically would have accepted that they are normally distributed. But for us to yet be sure again, there's one more thing that we need to look at. We need to look at the histogram. Now, looking at this histogram, all we just need to do is you click here, then there's something that we need to go and we need to put this particular plot on it. So what I did was to activate it, you just double click. Then you click on it, now it will leave. sorry, if you just return that. So once you click on it, it will show you what you are set to look out for. But here you can see that if you compare this is for the FSH, then the LH, the same thing. If you click on this and you click on this too, you can see that they are not normally distributed. I'm going to pull out that slide to show us the criteria that we set for you to say something is actually normally distributed. Then if you also check, if you look at this, what is it called? This box plot, you can see that there's a whole lot of outliers on this data. I would say outliers are usually extreme values, whether low value or high value, as the case may be. So let me just quickly pull out that presentation on the normality testing so that we'll get that particular aspect. I don't know if we've gotten the process on how to actually get that normality first. Please, if you can hear me, just respond. Have we gotten that process?
Yes, you're catching up. You're catching up. It's making sense for me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to just quickly take us to those aspects now. Now, remember we said for you to have something that is normally distributed, that this is how it's supposed to look like. Do we remember? Then we now make mention of these are the different, we said histogram and box plots, then normality quantile plot, which I will also show us now, then goodness of fit, which could either be this Shapiro and this SKS test. But we know that from what I told us, Shapiro weak test is actually the best of them all. It's the more reliable. The reason is that the estimate that it gives is more standard than others. Now, this is example of histogram and box plot. This is an example of a normally distributed data. Then if we go further, that you can see now, our old data is more of this because it's one-sided. It's actually less skewed. Now, another one that we also said for you to have a normal distributed data, supposed to have few here, then we have a concentrated value at the center. But what we have was actually the opposite. We have concentrated value, no even value at all at the right rather. All we have is at the left hand side. So I'm going to stop this now. I'll try to see if I can put them side by side so that with the output that we just got in now, let me see if I can put them together. Please, can we see the two presentations close to each other?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's go back to this plot. You can see this plot. Sorry. You can see that this plot is more of this nature compared to something like this.
Yeah.
So automatically it shows that this is not normally distributed. Then if you go back to your Q and Q plots too, you can see that we are supposed to have something more of at the center. That is like a straight. All of them are supposed to be like this, on this, from zero like this, just up like that, straight, not having this kind of data like this. So automatically, this is not a normal distributed data. Then if you check this too, you can see this too. You can see that it's not actually well distributed. So we can conclude that the FSH and the LH are not normally distributed. And I told us that if they are not normally distributed, the next thing that you are supposed to do is to transform the data. But I also make a disclaimer to that it's not just about transforming the data, but it's making sure that when you transform the data, the danger there is that after transforming your data, every other every other statistic that you are going to run, all the value that you are going to run, you have to come and bring them to that convert them to that value, those value you got. If, for example, if you log them, if it was log that you used to transform them, if it was square root, then you have to convert your value or your results that you got into to that value for you to be able to get the real value. So in essence, in this case, it's usually advised that there's no need to do transformation. So since they are not normally distributed, the next thing that you are supposed to do is to go and you will use non-parametric test. So you will use non-parametric test as the case may be. So that is
Hello, Mr. I can see just I and you.
Oh, okay, okay. I will add them now. They are back here. They are actually there. Okay. So what I was saying in essence is that is just what you are going to what you will see. But I want to make a clarification again. Do we all get the point of how we do the check for the normality test?
Yeah, we're following.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again. Then we are going to check for the normal distribution of their age now, to check if their age was normally distributed. We've seen now that the FSH and the LH were not normally distributed. So let's check if their age was normally distributed. So you go to analyze again, descriptive, then you go to explore. So you can just reset this, but this one I just want to check for their age. So I told you before you do anything, you must assert hypothesis. For example, now I want to check if the age of the female were normally distributed. That's the known hypothesis. While the alternate hypothesis is that the age of the female used in the study were not normally distributed. So the next thing I do, I will go to statistic. My descriptive is on. There's no need of putting percentile because I'm not really interested in the percentile. Then plot, I told us that you deselect the leaf and stem and leaf. Then you put it on histogram and normality with plot. Then you can just click this none for the box plot. We are not really, except if you want it, but if you don't want, you can leave that. You can just click it out. Then normal what is it called, option, we are not selecting anything there. The next most important thing is for you to come here and said you want your value to be the display to be both. So you click on OK. So once you click on OK, then your result will be here. Then we can see from here that the mean age is 30.75. Then these are the different value that we are seeing. You can see the kurtosis, you can see the skewness, the range, the maximum by standard deviation, variance, mean, median rather, and the rest. Then this is the what is it called? This is the normality test. So you can see that the normality test is still statistically significant. But look at it, you can see that yes, although it's tending toward not to be statistically significant, but you can see that it's still not well distributed. So for us to check if it's well distributed, what you need to do is to click on this. Then let's click on this. No, not this. It's not what I need. This. Okay. Yeah, this is what I need. So you can see that yes, in as much this line is there, but you can see that if it was really normally distributed, this should be at the center. Then here too, there shouldn't be space here as it is. To look through this particular this slide, to look at this slide, you can see the way it was distributed. But for this, you can see that it was not well distributed. So it still shows that you can see that yes, although it's actually on a line, but it's still out of the line. So we can say that it's not also normally distributed. So basically that is what you actually do. Then remember we also talk about skewness and kurtosis. Then another thing that I want to quickly mention, another way for you to actually check for normality, is to check the value of skewness and kurtosis. Now usually for skewness is actually is a measure of symmetry, or more precisely the lack of either there is symmetry or no symmetry. When I say symmetry, whether there is a form of I think the best way to explain that is using this curve. Now if everything follow within this line, you can say that data is symmetrical. But if it's more to a side, then it's not actually symmetric. Then another thing for kurtosis is actually used to measure whether the data are heavily tailed or light tailed. Now when we say tailed or light tailed, we are talking about in relation to normal distribution of the data. Now what I want us to do is that after this class, let's try and read up what skewness and kurtosis is, because there are values that you use to determine whether a data is normally distributed or not normally distributed. So the best for you to be able to get that, just type up kurtosis and skewness on Google. Then you read about them to actually check how do you use them to determine what value can you also said something is distributed or not distributed, and most importantly to also determine whether the symmetry is towards right skewed or left skewed, as the case may be. Okay, I can hear you. Go on. Hello, if it's like you wanted to say something.
No, sorry, sir.
Okay. Okay. So any question for now?
Are you in the class?
Any question for now?
Can you mute your mic, please?
If it okay, I think that's going year one. Please kindly mute your mic since there is
Okay.
yes, kindly
No,
mute
you know
your
what?
mic. Thank you.
You know what?
Please kindly mute your mic, sir.
It's all right.
She's muted.
It's not though. It's not muted, is it? Okay. So, any question so far?
Yeah, no question. Just one clarification. So once you are able to ascertain that your data or whatever is not normally
Yes.
distributed. So in cases where you have that asymmetrical or
Yes.
not normal distribution, so what you need to do is to do there's a word you use. The next thing to do, there's a word you used.
Non-parametric test.
The non-parametric test,
Yes, is to
exactly. So
actually you are
that's
supposed. No. No, the next thing you are supposed to do is to transform that data.
okay. Before you do
And
the
when I say
non-parametric test.
transform, let me just
Yes.
it's actually two-way. You can decide to transform the data to until you get a normally distributed data.
Yeah, and
But in
that's what you
practice,
said. You do that square or cube and all those stuff,
yes,
right?
but in practice, it's not actually workable. That's just the truth. In practice, it's
Okay.
not workable. The reason why it's not workable, I'm going to the age now that we did. Let's demonstrate something now. Let's come here. Then let's go to then you go to compute variable. You go to transform, then you go to compute variable. Now, I want to try to transform this data, this age. Now, assuming I want to I want to use mathematical or arithmetic functions. Once I click on arithmetic functions, you can see the different function. ABS, arcsine, arctan, cos, exponential, log10, in log, mode, all these different mathematical square root and all of that. Are you guys following me? Now,
Yes.
okay. Assuming what I want to do, let's say I want to find the log of the age. Are you with me? So I'll click on log. Then I'll click on I'll move it up. Let me reset that so that you click on arithmetic. Then I want to use log. Then once it comes here, then you use this arrow to move it up. Then you can see it's having a question mark. Then I'll click on the age to go in there. So immediately I do that. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Then the reason why it's still not highlighting, I will now write trans age. And you notice that because I did not write anything here, this OK is not highlighting because I have not told him the output I want it to be. So I say trans as transform age. Then I'll click on OK. Then automatically it's going to generate another data for me. If I go to the end of this now, you can see the age that had been transformed. Are you here?
Yes.
So I'll go back again. I want to go and check if my data is now normally distributed. It's going to be a very rigorous exercise. Then I'll come back here, carry my transform H, I move it here. Now I have to write down that the first thing I did was transform, log 10 that I used, because in case this particular one is not yet transformed, it's not yet normally distributed, I have to keep transforming again. I have to use another method to see, okay, if I use this method, is it going to transform again? So now I click on statistic again, descriptive is okay, plot, I'll remove this, I'll put it on this, none, then I'll put on this, then I'll click on OK, then I'll click OK. Then I'll go back again, I'll check my value. You can see it, because you can see it's still statistically significant. Can you see that? It's still statistically significant. So I'll go back to transform, go to compute again. Then I put on reset. Then
Yes,
are you with me?
yes.
Are you with me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'll put on arithmetic. Arithmetic use 1 over let's say each can I use now? Okay, let's say I want to use inverse. Clear? Then remove this. Now remember that the second process now we still do that. Then I'll click on analyze again. I'll go to descriptive, explore. Then I reset this. Then I move this other edge here. Then click on statistic, which is fine. Then I'll click on plots. I'll remove this. I don't want this. I want this. Then I want this. Then I'll click on OK. Then I click on OK. So let's check again and see what the value can see is still statistically significant. So you can see it's still statistically significant. So that's why I was suggesting, or not suggesting, conventionally rather, is actually advised that you, as much as possible, you, once your data is not normally distributed and you just transform maybe once or twice, the next thing you are supposed to do is that, in fact, you just go ahead and use your non-parametric test, because of the processes that are involved. The issue is that even when you can enable your mic, okay, even when you finally get your data distributed, how do you now start to convert back to your original value? You know, that's another process. So you have to start you have to start using equations again, because you have to write equation to transform your result now back to the initial place where you have to look for the anti-log now or something like that. Then you look for opposite of square root that you have used. No, those are really going to be a whole lot of process that, in fact, is going to be an issue. So the best is that you go ahead, you use your non-parametric test, you save yourself of all those issues. And because of the kind of area we are, we don't really even require us doing regression that will require you have to transform or your data to be normally distributed. But it's people that are in statistics and social sciences that are bound of using regression, that sometimes they have to even consult a statistician to write a formula for them to convert their data into normal distribution before they run anything. So it's just save yourself of the headache. Then you just go ahead and use your your non-parametric test in any case. The truth is that, to be sincere with us, a whole lot of statistics that people actually submit in school, they will just tell you, what statistic did you use? The next thing, the person will just tell you, I used T-student test, I use ANOVA. If I happen to be in that panel, for example, the next question I will ask the person, show me your histogram of your distribution of your data. So immediately the person show that, you will know that what the person did is actually absolutely wrong, because the person did not actually check for normality before even running. Because if you don't check for normality, what usually will actually be wrong, because you are using the wrong test. So it's very important you actually master that choosing of a right statistic, because you notice that places where we make mention of ANOVA, we make mention of correlation, we make mention of t-test, we make mention of a peer t-test and the rest, we were talking about normally distributed data. So I will stop here. If there's any question, we'll ask. If not, think we'll bring this class to a close. Then I will expect us to generate some data and try to check for normality of those data. Then tomorrow you share, or Wednesday, then you share your experience with us. Then, because of time, we'll go through the other aspect that was mentioned that wasn't clear in the next class. Then we'll now take it off from there and just look for some data that we can run. I'll look for data that will be normally distributed, that we can actually run or what is it called, that we can run t-test and ANOVA on. Then we'll now move further to run what is it called, to run the non-parametric test, as the case may be. So we can unmute ourselves, and why I stop sharing now. Then there's any question, I hope here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, why you were attempting to do the transformation actually,
Yes.
which you've just said is going to be very tedious.
Yes.
If you're trying to make it, normally distributed. What actually informed you to use that? And what you did, you used the log or the other one? Is it because it was less left skewed?
Yes, and if you go back to where, I think, is it here now? Okay, I think is this slide. Let me just share my slide quickly.
Okay.
This particular slide, let me just think there was a place where we made mention there is a ladder. Yes, you can see this ladder. Can you see this ladder?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's check what we did. Can you see? You can see
Yes.
what we used first was log.
Yes.
then we can actually end up using all of these different, what's it called? All of these different equations or functions rather. Can use for a right skewed value is expected you use log 10 square cube 1 over the value, then 1 over uh, square of the value. Are you with me?
Yes.
Now, if it was a left skewed data, then you use this, you use this, you use this, you use the as the case may be. So if you can actually exhaust, you can go ahead and use all of this, you might end up having a distributed data. But where the challenge is that, okay, assuming you now have your normal data normally distributed, maybe you
Yes.
use a 1 all over minus 1 all over, let's say 1 all over v square. Now you now got your value. How do you now convert
Yes.
it back to, how do you convert your all those values now when you finish your analysis? How do you now because you can't report your value in this format, sure you know.
Why so you cannot stick to these end values after this transformation. You have to take it back to the original
Yes.
values.
Do you,
That's
for
what.
example, let's say
So
blue, do you have an age that is minus 1 all over something? So you have to take it back. So it's a very tedious. That's why statisticians will even tell you to just, once you do it and it's not normally distributed, you can do log, then just go and run your non-parametric test to be on the safe
but
side. Because what you're actually trying to check is just check.
this talking ladder guy, sorry to cut you, has he been ever used? Who brought it? And
Sir?
because I mean, yeah, so I'm trying to put the dots together. The
Okay.
ladder, the talking ladder,
Yes.
if it's not very important, then it shouldn't have been a point for discussion, because going through all this transformation and then trying to take it back can take you like a whole day. So, do you think
Yes.
it's really something? Is an important conversation to have when trying to transform data or make it normally distributed?
For the sake of knowledge, you know, there are two things. There is what, for example, you might opportunity to also teach students tomorrow. It will be wrong for you to just tell them
Okay.
that. Eh?
Yeah. Go
It will
ahead.
be wrong for you to just tell students that, okay, once you do no if once you check for normality, you just, if it's not normally distributed, you go ahead and use what's it called, non-parametric. But you still have to let them know that you can do transformation, but
With
practically,
a
are you with me? Practically
Yeah.
is not achievable. But what you actually try to check, for example, is to check, let's say you are trying to check between cases and control to know if there's statistically differences between them. That's what teach student statistics will tell you, which you are trying to check for use if it's normally distributed. Then if you also use man weighting u test, it's the same result that is going to tell. It's still going to tell you whether it's the statistically significant or not. So while going through all this trouble, when you the end result is just for you to check if there is statistically mean difference between them, which you can go ahead and do using another method, which is the non-parametric test. So in practice, but for people that are doing statistics as in degree, they will want them to go to know the in depth of everything. But what we need to know, because statistics is not our basic what is it called, profession as the case may be, is the applicability that is really important to us. How do I apply it? So for application sake, this is just for knowledge sake, not for application sake. Once you do your normal distribution and it's not normally distributed, you go ahead and do your. But if you are writing exam, for example, you go and for an interview, maybe interview that have to do with statistics, they will ask you, okay, you run normal distributed data. If the data is not normally distributed, what next what are you supposed to do? You don't just tell them you do non-parametric. You tell them that you transform the data to be normally distributed. Then they will now ask you, okay, where the next question is that if it's not normally distributed, what will you do? Then you now tell them, okay, I will use non-parametric test. But they know that in practice, that is not even applicable, because once you do it and you are not, they need result from you in the next an hour, who will now give you time to be using a whole day to be transforming data? So, but they will want to know whether you actually know the knowledge. It's just like, for example, I can use calculator to do 10 times 10, but somebody can decide to say want to use hand to be calculating. At the end, we'll arrive at the same result. So whether you follow, for example, we are going to Abuja, I decide to take flight, but you decide to go through road. All of us will get to Abuja, but I will get to Abuja before you. So that's just the basic differences.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So
So
just one last one. You said we should generate data.
yes.
Like what's the value? Like, is it
No,
as
just
much as what you have?
no.
Or maybe
It's
it's
not. It
20
shouldn't.
or 15?
It shouldn't be as much as I have. It can be maybe 50. Can generate just maybe 50 data.
Okay.
Data set can be glucose. Maybe in your lab, you can just go through whatever. Go through your lab notes. 50. Look at 50. Or you can even go online. You can look for data sets. Just type
Okay.
normally distributed data sets for SPSS.
Okay.
You will see it.
Okay, nice.
So
Thank you.
yeah.
We just copy them.
And even your SPSS, let me tell you, your SPSS, there is actually a free data set for learning on it. So just remind me next week. I'm going to show you how to access those data sets.
Okay.
I say next week, sorry, on Wednesday, how to access those data sets.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank
any
you.
question from any other person before we call it a day?
So we are flowing.
Okay.
No, I don't have.
Hello, Mr. Adetuji.
No, I don't have any question for now.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Ify, what about you?
No question for now.
Okay. Mr. Ayawa. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
I hope I've not been murdering your name.
You have been assassinating my name, sir. Yaguam.
Yaguam, that's your name, man. It's be like Rastafarian kind of name.
Yeah. That's a Gombe name, sir.
Oh, I have a friend in
Sir,
Gombe
can
actually.
you pronounce again Yaguams?
Please pronounce it so that I will get
Sir?
it. Help me pronounce it again.
Hello?
Can you kindly pronounce the
Okay,
name again? Yago. Yaguam. Oh, well,
So,
this name, man.
hello?
All right,
Yes.
thank you for.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me?
Yes, we are with you.
Yeah. Coincidentally, I don't know. We are even running the same class with Ify.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, she's my intern. She's my intern on call.
Oh,
Do you get me?
in University of Abuja.
I'm telling you, I didn't know she's running the same program. It's until she came for an issue, then I heard her voice ringing in my phone. I said, are you really doing the program I'm doing? Are you the Ify I've been hearing the the facilitator will be saying, okay, let's wait for you. Let's wait. Are you the so it was
such
a
a wonderful
coincidence.
word. That's good. Wow.
I
That's
tell
good.
you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So that was wonderful.
So yeah, if we have any challenge, we'll get back.
No problem.
Yes, sir.
It will be
Thanks.
it will be nice when I come Abuja so that I will meet you, so that you will carry me out now. All right.
No, you're all welcome. You're all welcome.
All
Yes.
right. So thank you so
We'll
much.
be glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this time. We believe and we hope that
Thanks.
we'll do more. And you guys, please keep practicing. That is where the experting, becoming an expert comes to play. So you keep practicing, lay your hand on any data, play with it, made mistake, correct, and all of that. So that's it. So good night, everybody.
In fact, hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah, we're intending to take some values in glucose.
Okay, that would be nice.
In glucose, so use it as a data.
Okay.
But we'll get to you.
No problem.
If along the way we have any challenge, we'll get to you.
No wala. That's fine. You can always raise up any question. If you are having any issue, you can just screenshot it, then you can post it and ask, okay, how do I proceed from here? That's how we do. Yeah.
All right.
So
thanks.
see you guys on Wednesday, God's willing. Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right, sir.
Huh.
Oh my God.